Baby.
Have you ever went in the kitchen and seen nothing and still made something and it became scrumptious?
Welcome to Carmel's Wine and Cheese, where we make something out of nothing, a little of any and everything, all while measuring with nothing but love. So in today's video, what I'm going to be making for you all is a recipe I created of my own called stuffed blackened salmon. And the first thing I'm going to do is create the stuffing because it is made with cream cheese and I want it to sit overnight. It doesn't matter what brand of cream cheese you use as long as it's plain cream cheese. Added a little bit of lemon juice to there, and then also I'm gonna add some fresh minced garlic because I don't cook no meal without garlic in it unless it's a dessert, and garlic make everything taste better. Next, I'm going to be adding some fresh jalapeno in there. Now, I'm going to deseed mine only because I just can't really tolerate spicy food too much. But you all can leave the seeds in there to give it an extra kick if you all like. It just all depends on your taste buds. Next, I'm going to dice up some red onions. Next, I'm going to add some fresh parsley. So now I'm going to add some sun-dried tomatoes to the cream cheese stuffing. Next, I'm going to add some fresh shredded mozzarella cheese. When you all are making this recipe, I highly recommend to allow the cream cheese to get to room temperature, because as you can see, I kind of had a hard time mixing it up with the spatula, so I had to switch to the metallic spoon instead. So I actually forgot to show that I put salt and pepper inside of this stuffing before I covered it up and refrigerated it overnight. So please, guys, if you all decide to make this, please put the salt and pepper inside of the cream cheese stuffing. So with my stuffed blackened salmon, I'm going to be making two sides. One vegetable and a starch, and for my vegetables I am going to be making a oven roasted Brussels sprouts with rainbow tomatoes. Now I just call them rainbow tomatoes because they're colorful. I'm not sure that's actually what they're called, but if you all don't want to see this, I have dropped below in the comments and also in the description box the timestamps for when I start making the salmon, if you want to go ahead and just skip ahead to that part. So the first thing I'm going to do for the roasted Brussels sprouts, obviously I'm going to cut the stems off and get them inside of a strainer so that they can be washed. Once they are washed, I'm going to go ahead and add them into a mixing bowl and add some extra virgin olive oil, some salt, some black pepper, some garlic paste, So after that's all mixed up, I'm just going to go ahead and transfer this over to a baking sheet and put this in the oven for about 15 minutes on 350 degrees. Now for my second side, I'm going to be making red and white skin sour cream mashed potatoes. So I'm just gonna slice these in halves so that they will cook faster. So after I cut up the first bag of potatoes and I put them in the water, I realized that it wasn't enough. So I just went ahead and cut up the second bag of potatoes as well. Y'all, please forgive me now for the sideways camera screen. When I recorded this video initially, I recorded it with the camera facing vertically, but in order to make the frame fit fully, I had to rotate the video horizontally, which means every clip is going to be horizontal. Y'all, time for the most anticipated part, the stuffing of the salmon. Dun 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 dun. No, I'm just kidding. So with this salmon, it's already descaled. Like I mentioned in my first video I did how to really make hot lemon pepper wings, I am going to wash this salmon off because I wash everything before I consume it. And after I give it a good rinse, I'm just going to go ahead and pat that salmon dry. When you make this recipe, you want to make sure that you get a salmon with a nice amount of thickness, because when we stuff this salmon, it has to be butterflied. So right now I'm just gonna make my markings. I'm gonna do 4 pieces from this cut of salmon, and I just want to make sure I get an even piece for each cut. So when butterflying the salmon, we want to make sure that we don't bring the knife all the way down to the cutting board, obviously, because then it would split the salmon in half. We just want to get it down maybe 3/4 of the way so that we can fit our cream cheese stuffing in there. So be careful when you're butterflying your salmon. Now it is time for the stuffing of the salmon, for real this time. Now, this part of the process is pretty self-explanatory. The only recommendation that I would have for you all is to not overstuff the salmon, because once this goes into the skillet and it heats up, it is going to melt and some of the cream cheese stuffing may come out. And cream cheese is not one of those things that tastes good once it's burnt. But if you do want more of the stuffing, I would just recommend to put the stuffing on top of the salmon before you put it into the oven to finish cooking. For the next step, I am going to oil the salmon down, season the salmon up, and close that baby. For the seasoning, I'm just going to use Zatarain's blackened seasoning. Now, y'all can use any blackening seasoning that you want. I just know Zatarain's blackened seasoning is where it's at. And you can be generous with the seasoning, given that the only seasoning that's going on the salmon is the blackened seasoning and a little bit of onion powder. When you're using the toothpicks to close the salmon, you want to make sure that you put them in there at an angle diagonally, because if you just stick them straight down, it's going to go through the salmon, and when you go to sear the salmon isn't actually going to touch the pan, and that's going to cause you not to get it seared. Now, I don't show it in this video, but I feel like I need to say this because I know it's going to be somebody who is going to decide to not to take the toothpicks out the salmon when it's done and eat it, and be whining about the instructions were unclear, and now you done got a toothpick stuck sideways in your throat. Listen now, please take the toothpicks out the salmon before you eat it. Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Y'all, before I sear the salmon, I gotta make the cream that's gonna go inside the mashed potatoes. So I'm just gonna add some unsalted butter, a little bit of this delicious garlic paste, and don't be sleeping on no Great Value now. Some Great Value sour cream and some whole milk. Now once our cream comes to a boil, we're gonna add the potatoes and some black pepper, some onion powder, some salt, of course, and then lastly some grated Parmesan cheese. At last, my love has come along. Now it's time to sear the salmon. So I'm gonna put the oil in the pan first. and then I'm gonna turn it up to a high heat. Now for the searing of the salmon, it just depends on how fast your eye cooks. My eye cooks really fast, so I don't sear my salmon for more than 2 minutes per side. Now, rule of thumb is just look at it. If it's nice and golden brown, then hey, it's ready. After searing the salmon for about 2 minutes on each side, I'm just going to go ahead and pop this in the oven at 350 for about 5 to 10 minutes. Ooh, baby. Listen now, if you don't make any other recipe on this channel, I am telling you, you need to make this one. I'll see y'all on the next video.